They were rare, they were powerful, and in the 1950s they defined what luxury meant in America. From hand-built Cadillacs to chrome-drenched Buicks, these machines weren't just driven, they were displayed. Here are the 10 most expensive American cars of the 1950s, and the incredible prices they command today. Number 10, 1953 Buick Skylark. If one car captured the optimism of early 1950s America, it was the 1953 Buick Skylark, a convertible that looked less like transportation and more like a celebration. Born to mark Buick's 50th anniversary, the Skylark wasn't built for practicality. It was built to prove that American craftsmanship could rival anything Europe had to offer. Every curve of its low-slung body was sculpted by hand. The cut-down doors, chrome-wrapped fenders, and wire wheels gave it a presence that turned heads even in traffic full of fins and flash. Inside, the cabin felt like a private club on wheels. Hand-stitched leather, chrome accents polished to a mirror, and a steering wheel carved like fine jewelry. Under the hood lived Buick's brand new 322 cubic inch nailhead V8, producing 188 horsepower. A smooth, confident growl that defined the decade. Combined with a Dynaflow automatic transmission and power steering, it delivered an effortless ride that felt years ahead of its time. But what really made the Skylark legendary was its exclusivity. Only 1,690 units were produced, each one carefully assembled, each one slightly different. Owning one in 1953 meant you were part of a very small club, a club that paid about $5,000 back then, over $57,000 today. That was more than many Cadillacs cost, and worth every penny for those who wanted their car to say something about their place in the world. Number 9, 1956 Lincoln Continental Mark II. In 1956, America decided to prove that it could build a car to stand toe-to-toe with Rolls-Royce, and it did so with a single flawless statement, the Lincoln Continental Mark II. This wasn't just a luxury car, it was a philosophy on wheels. Every panel was hand-fitted, every inch of leather hand-stitched. Even the chrome, which the 1950s had in no short supply, was used sparingly, not to show off, but to whisper elegance. Where other cars shouted, the Mark II spoke in confidence. Inside, silence was the luxury. Fine bridge of weir leather, deep pile carpeting, and whisper quiet switchgear made the cabin feel more like a private suite than a machine. Under the hood was a 368 cubic inch V8 with 285 horsepower, not for speed, but for effortless motion. It glided across the road as if the pavement moved for it. The price was as bold as its design, about $10,000 in 1956, making it one of the most expensive American cars ever built at the time, nearly $115,000 today, and it wasn't sold through regular dealers. Owners were hand-selected, and each car came with a certificate of inspection signed by the craftsman who built it. Number 8, 1953 Oldsmobile Fiesta. Some cars are built to move people. The 1953 Oldsmobile Fiesta was built to astonish them. When Oldsmobile unveiled the Fiesta, it wasn't aiming for mass production. It was aiming for immortality. Only 458 units were ever made, each one hand-assembled as part of General Motors' experimental dream car showcase known as the Motorama. From the moment you saw it, you knew this wasn't just another convertible. Its bold front grille, sweeping chrome arches, and vibrant two-tone paint made it look more like sculpture than steel. It was the kind of design that didn't just reflect light, it reflected confidence. Inside, the Fiesta was pure indulgence. Plush upholstery, power seats, an automatic radio tuner, and detailing so intricate it bordered on art. This was a car built for people who didn't just love to drive, they loved to be seen driving. But exclusivity came at a price. When it hit showrooms, the Fiesta cost around $5,715, making it more expensive than many Cadillacs of its time. The automotive equivalent of wearing a gold watch in a sea of wristbands. Adjusted for today, that's about $65,000, but even that number doesn't capture what the Fiesta meant. It wasn't a purchase, it was a statement. Number 7, 1957 DeSoto Adventurer. If the 1950s had a car that perfectly captured the thrill of American confidence, it was the 1957 DeSoto Adventurer, a name that said everything you needed to know before you even saw it. Built for drivers who refuse to blend in, the Adventurer was DeSoto's answer to the growing luxury performance trend. A machine that didn't just look powerful, it felt powerful the moment you turned the key. Its body was bold and athletic, dressed in two-tone paint that mixed gold, white, and black. Colors that looked like they belonged in a ballroom, not a garage. The gold-accented trim, wire wheels, and sweeping tail fins made sure no one ever mistook it for anything ordinary. Under the hood, it carried a 345 cubic inch Hemi V8, producing 345 horsepower, 1 horsepower for every cubic inch. That wasn't an accident, it was a flex. This car didn't whisper refinement, it announced it with authority, and the price matched its ambition. In 1957, the Adventurer sold for around $4,500, which equals roughly $50,000 today. It wasn't the priciest car on the market, but it was a statement, an American luxury coupe that could rival the best from Europe and still outshine its domestic rivals in flair. Number 6, 1955 Chrysler Imperial. By the mid-1950s, Chrysler was done playing second fiddle. The company wanted a car that could stand with the greats of Europe, not by copying them, but by outclassing them. Their answer came dressed in tailored chrome and quiet authority, the 1955 Chrysler Imperial. At first glance, the Imperial didn't scream for attention, it commanded it. Its long, graceful lines and towering grille gave it the stance of a diplomat's motorcade. This was the car of choice for heads of state, executives, and anyone who believed prestige didn't need to be loud. Inside, it felt like stepping into an executive office on wheels. Plush leather seats, precision instruments, and subtle detailing made it clear that every inch was built to impress. Not just visually, but emotionally. Everything about the Imperial exuded weight, purpose, and restraint. A kind of power that didn't have to shout to be heard. Underneath that composure was a serious machine. A 331 cubic inch Hemi V8 delivered smooth, commanding acceleration, while Chrysler's PowerFlight automatic transmission made it effortless to drive. This was luxury built on engineering, not marketing, and the cost reflected that ambition, around $4,400 in 1955, or roughly $50,000 today. Number 5, 1957 Cadillac Eldorado Brougham. By 1957, Cadillac had one goal: to prove that American luxury could outshine the entire world. And it did, with a car so advanced, so outrageously opulent that it still feels futuristic today. The 1957 Cadillac Eldorado Brougham. This wasn't just a car, it was an event. Every detail was handcrafted, every feature designed to push the limits of what luxury meant in the 1950s. The Brougham came with self-leveling air suspension, automatic memory seats, magnetic door latches, and even a built-in perfume atomizer. Technology so sophisticated it bordered on science fiction. The design was pure elegance wrapped in audacity. A brushed stainless steel roof, rear-hinged suicide doors, and body lines sharp enough to cut light itself. It didn't just turn heads, it froze traffic. Under the hood, a 365 cubic inch V8 produced 325 horsepower through a 4-speed hydromatic automatic transmission, offering a drive so smooth it felt like floating above the road. Every one of these cars was hand-built by Cadillac's most skilled craftsmen, and it showed. But what truly set the Eldorado Brougham apart was its price tag. In 1957, it cost an astounding $13,074, making it the most expensive American production car of its time. That's over $125,000 in today's money. And that didn't stop anyone. This wasn't a car you bought for logic, you bought it because you could. Number 4, 1959 Dodge Custom Royal Lancer. If there's one car that perfectly captured the glittering optimism of late 1950s America, it's the 1959 Dodge Custom Royal Lancer. This wasn't just transportation, it was theater on 4 wheels. In an era when style mattered as much as horsepower, Dodge turned the Lancer into a rolling piece of sculpture. Towering tail fins stretched toward the horizon, sweeping chrome trim wrapped the body like jewelry, and the two-tone paint looked like it belonged on a jukebox come to life. Every inch screamed confidence, excess, and the American dream in motion. Underneath the flash was genuine muscle. A 383 cubic inch Super Red Ram V8 produced up to 320 horsepower, backed by a TorqueFlite push-button automatic transmission. the kind of futuristic detail that made drivers feel like pilots from a jet age fantasy. The ride was smooth, the acceleration strong, and the style utterly unmatched. But style came at a cost. In 1959, the custom Royal Lancer cost about $3,600, a fortune for a Dodge, equal to roughly $38,000 today. And for those who wanted even more prestige, the D500 Performance Package offered racing-inspired tuning and dual 4-barrel carburetors. Owning one meant you didn't just like cars, you lived for them. Number 3, 1959, Cadillac Eldorado Biarritz. If the 1950s had a crown jewel, it was the 1959 Cadillac Eldorado Biarritz. This was the car that turned every street into a red carpet, the one that defined American extravagance in chrome and tail fins. With its dramatic design and unmistakable silhouette, the Eldorado Biarritz became more than just a car. It became the symbol of success, status, and cinematic glamour. Its towering fins, twin bullet taillights, and sweeping body lines weren't just design choices, they were declarations. This was the machine for the few who didn't just want attention, they expected it. Inside, the Biarritz was pure indulgence. Hand-stitched leather, brushed metal trim, and automatic everything, from the radio tuner to the power seats. It wasn't a car you got into, it was a car you entered. Under the hood roared Cadillac's massive 390 cubic inch V8, producing 345 horsepower. Paired with a Hydra-matic automatic transmission, it delivered effortless performance and the kind of smooth power that made it feel like gliding through air. Cadillac didn't just build a car, it built an experience. And then there was the price. In 1959, the Eldorado Biarritz cost around $7,400, one of the highest price tags in America, the equivalent of over $75,000 today. Number 2, 1958 Packard Hawk. By 1958, one of America's oldest luxury automakers was nearing its final chapter. But before the curtain fell, Packard built one last statement piece, the bold and beautiful Packard Hawk. This was no quiet farewell. The Hawk was fast, loud, and unashamedly defiant. A final roar from a brand that once defined prestige. It borrowed its frame from the Studebaker Golden Hawk, but Packard gave it its own soul. A sharper front end, a lower stance, and a signature power bulge on the hood that hinted at the beast beneath it. That beast was a 289 cubic inch supercharged V8, producing 275 horsepower, enough to push the car to 120 miles per hour, making it one of the fastest American luxury cars of its day. For a company that had spent decades building stately limousines, this was a shock. Packard had suddenly become bold, sporty, and rebellious. Inside, the Hawk mixed classic luxury with cutting-edge performance cues. You got a leather-wrapped dash, full instrumentation, and bucket-style seats, a rare sight in the 1950s. It was a car that bridged two eras, the formality of old-world craftsmanship and the excitement of modern design. But all that innovation came at a cost. At $3,995 in 1958, roughly $43,000 today. It was more expensive than many competitors, and yet it couldn't save the brand. Only 588 Packard Hawks were ever built before the company's long run came to an end. Number 1, 1959 Chrysler 300E. If the 1950s began with optimism, it ended with raw power. And no car embodied that transition better than the 1959 Chrysler 300E. It wasn't just another luxury coupe, it was Chrysler's declaration that luxury and performance could coexist under the same hood. By the time the 300E rolled off the line, the letter car series had already earned the nickname the Banker's Hot Rod. It was elegant enough for the country club, but fierce enough to leave tire marks in its parking lot. Beneath its long, chiseled hood sat Chrysler's legendary 413 cubic inch Golden Lion V8, producing 380 horsepower, an astonishing figure for the era. This engine wasn't just powerful, it was overbuilt, tuned for endurance and torque, the kind of motor that laughed at long highway runs. Backed by a TorqueFlite automatic, it delivered effortless thrust and silky shifts that made it as smooth as it was savage. The 300E didn't need wild fins or flashing chrome to make its presence known. Its styling was restrained, muscular, confident, a visual handshake that said, "I'm expensive and I know it." Inside, the cockpit mixed sport and sophistication, leather bucket seats, a full array of performance gauges, and the distinct 300 medallion that reminded drivers they were behind the wheel of something special. At $5,700 in 1959, around $65,000 today,